Hey guys, Tarke here with the 4th update on the Soulrend Trickster. We've made quite a few gear changes. We're halfway to 93. We had a lot of rips today. We did 2 more shapers. Getting my shapers, I had to run some really rippy, corrupted guardians, and I ripped like a whole level worth of XP, so I should really be like 93.5. And we've had a few upgrades. I got a Solstice Vigil and a Dying Sun back to back. Dying Sun first, then the Solstice. I actually need to quality up that Dying Sun. I just realized. Let's do that real quick. I've made some changes to the passive skill tree, which I'm going to cover in this. I'm going to run 2 maps first, and then I'm going to do a whole bunch of passive skill tree stuff. I'm going to run an indoor map and an outdoor map, just so people can kind of be like, oh, so this is what it looks like in both environments. I covered in the last video why I prefer Soulrend. I'm an idiot. Why I prefer Soulrend to Bane. End of the day, they're different playstyles. They appeal to different people. If you prefer one playstyle, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I personally prefer this. So we've got a waste pool and a summit. Let's start with an open map, and then we'll do the indoor map afterwards. And I literally just got the Solstice Vigil and I've only just equipped it into the build. So let's see how I feel about the Blasphemy range on it. It's not that large, but I should notice it every now and again. The main thing which is nice about it is getting the increased duration on all my buffs. That's the real main big thing. Now, I'm still running a Queen of the Forest, but I would actually like to drop the Queen of the Forest for a defensive chest. I'm really glad that my Nico's procced on this. I've been trying to proc in Nico for ages. I couldn't get it to proc in any of my tier 16s, which was really frustrating me. Also, I'm using a low-level Blasphemy, low-level temp, because I literally only just swapped it in. So it's not going to be the best showcase. Space tank dude. That's actually one thing I just realized, because I've got the Blasphemy temp chains now. With all of my like dodge and evasion, I could just face tank bosses now, and the temp chains is a DPS increase because it increases the duration of all of my buffs. So that's actually kind of cool. Huh? Yeah. No, I like that. I reckon Solstice Vigil for this build. So I've got Dual Curse. I've got a Curse on hit Wand, which is how I'm getting my Despair. It comes from Chaos Fossils. Aberrant Fossils to be exact. And then we've got the free Blasphemy from the Solstice Vigil. I've got +1 Curse on the tree. It's not too bad getting it on the tree because you also get skill effect duration along the same way, so that's alright. I'm gonna guess it's straight up. Maybe towards the middle. Let's have a look. Straight up, yes. Easy clap. For people still not enjoying this league, even if you don't run the Memory Nexus, just treat these zones like super sextants. They are sextant that don't cost you anything, which just add a whole bunch of mobs and density to your maps. Like, they're really nice for map sustain. They give you a whole bunch of 6 sockets and everything. They're amazing, dude. Like, oh, but Tarke, no one ever gets anything from the league, blah, 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 blah. They just, like, shit out currency. It's like getting mini incursions, you know? It's fun just getting mini incursions, even if you don't engage with anything, right? If you just, like, run it, don't engage with the Nexus, it's, like, just extra stuff being added to your maps. That's big, you know? That's debated hard by that. It's really good. Still on the 5 link, want to get a 6 link. We did get the 21 Soulrend, so my damage has gone up a little bit. I'm currently rocking 130k dot DPS with GMP. People say, Tarke, do you ever like swap in Swift Affliction for single target to boost it? I like having the GMP even for bosses, to be honest. I find that it makes everything feel a lot smoother. You don't ever have to aim, and not having to aim is quite nice. If for very rippy bosses, you can off-screen them by just like soul rending from the other side of the screen, and it's actually very defensive. And if you dropped out the GMP, then you would end up missing out on a lot of damage, and I think just in the grand scheme of things, you want to keep the GMP in. Let's be real. I also still like Soulrend even on small enclosed maps like this. The reason being is the Soulrend has about 2.5 screens worth of travel. So when you shoot it out, it will clear all the way down the paths for you, and that just feels kind of good. Right, all 3. I'm gonna guess up and middle. Let's have a look if I'm right. Okay, so we got up and middle, maybe? Yes! Oh, dude, I'm so good at sometimes guessing the right way to go. Hog. If you hang around near the start, you can sort of work out which direction you're meant to be traveling, because the decay kind of pushes you in the right way. Okay, that's basically done. Leveling up my stuff. Picking up all imbued ones. Again, imbued ones, great for this build. Both my wands just dropped on the floor, rare. You can multi-mod better weapons. If I was to multi-mod weapons, I probably wouldn't even go for wands. I would go for, I believe it's called a Tiger Hook sword. It's got the 6% dodge implicit. And that way you can get an extra 12% dodge. It's just kind of nice defense added into the build for free. Try just face tanking. I don't want to face tank that. 50, not too bad. That was with life, I believe. Is that monster life? Oh, Phoenix. Beautiful streamer RNG. But yeah, I really haven't had issues with single target damage all the way through. Again, League started this build, private League, so, you know, not the best setup. And I've been on a 5-link all the way through Reds. And if you, you know, well, basically a 4-link since GMP doesn't boost my damage at all. So while you'd be missing out on a lot of quality of life not having GMP, you could be, you know, running Shapers and stuff on a 4-link, no problem. And the first Shaper I did was with a level 20, not a 21 Soulrend, so it's not even like I'm being carried by like broken gems or anything. So that's, you know, pretty reassuring. Definitely would recommend as a League starter. Now, for hardcore, Queen of the Forest is going to be a definite no-go. I'm feeling like I want to drop... Why can't I move? I'm just kind of like stuck. There you go. Headhunter, Pog. Even in softcore, I feel like I want to drop my Queen of the Forest for a defensive chest. In hardcore, you definitely want a defensive chest, and that defensive chest would be... I would think Kintsugi might actually be better than Perfect Form. So, Perfect Form gives you phase acro, if you don't know, so 30% dodge. It gives you a free Arctic Armor. The free Arctic Armor is nice because I very regularly just stand still and spam, as you can see on bosses. So getting that extra physical mitigation would actually be very juicy, especially when it comes to stuff like Elder. There's a lot of physical damage rolling around. But, I don't know, I just feel like Kintsugi would be really good. It gives you that massive evasion steroid once you've been hit, which would be a huge multiplier to your ES recovery. And then it would also give you just a consistent 20% less damage taken, which would be very good for Elder, because that stacks with Prolonged Pain and Ghost Dance. So Prolonged Pain gives you 10% reduced damage taken over time, and Ghost Dance gives you up to 9% generic damage reduction. And you only lose that reduction when you get hit. Now, degens don't count as being hit. So you would have 10, 20 from Kintsugi, 30. You'd have 39. There's diminishing returns. You can also stack it with Pantheons for reduce there. So that'd be 44 before diminishing returns. Reduce like beam damage and stuff. And I don't know. I just think that'd be pretty good. I messed around with that setup last league on my Corsair character and really enjoyed it. So things to consider. Also for hardcore, I don't think you could get away with doing 2 wands. I think you either have to have the defensive multi-modded dodge swords, or most likely a +3 bow, which would give you a bunch more damage, because then you can run your Soulrend in a +3 bow, and then have a 6-link Essence Drain in chest. And that way you can use a quiver, and the quiver will give you like another 90 flat life, and you can get Frenzy Charge on hit through fossils and like Elder and Shaper stuff. So you would gain like a lot of damage, and you would gain a bunch of defense. It would just be a lot more expensive. So let's get into the passive skill tree. A question I get a lot. Tarke, you rooted through the attack speed. Did you mean to root through the chaos damage? No. I went to root through the attack speed and cast speed because cast speed increases your damage. Because cast speed means that you stack your blights faster, you essence drain faster, you soul rend faster, increasing your uptime. It also means you die less because you have faster cast speed, you dash around faster, and you move faster. So you do everything faster, which means that you're more mobile, meaning you get hit less, which means you have more uptime on bosses. So yeah, cast speed is better than raw damage. Root through all this basic stuff. This point is worth getting. I just had to drop it to make points for Whispers of Doom. You want to fill this in eventually. I'm currently running 2 spreading rots since I'm running the Blight Totem. I'm not 100% sure, but I think the way this works, each spreading rot makes your Blight inflict Wither for 2 seconds. So you definitely get a 2-second Wither, which is longer than normal Wither. I think with 2, you get a 4-second. I'm not 100% about that, but I think you get a 4-second Wither. You do definitely get 100% increased Hinder duration, and Hinder is a slow, which scales very well with like temp chains and stuff, so it's just really solid. Root through this way, again another question. I personally root through the life regen. Life regen is better than generic damage, it's also less points, that's why I do that. Why do I skip these nodes? They're great nodes, they're just too far away, you need to worry about points. Root up, grab Eldritch Badger on the tree. Devouring Diadem is a Mastermind drop-only helm. Mastermind progress is really, really, really slow. There are so many buttons. Which one is it? I'm level 92, basically 93 if I hadn't wasted a bunch of experience. I've done 2 safe houses, and I'm about to get a 3rd, eventually. Intel progression is slow as all hell. Don't expect to get a Devouring Diadem unless you've got a lot of currency and you've been pushing the trade leagues. So just get it on the tree. Arcane Expanse is an amazing cluster. Soulrend, Essence Drain, they apply their degens in an area. They don't do area damage though. So any increases to area damage won't boost your damage, but they will boost your map clear and your single target, so increase your uptime. And this all gives spell damage. I dropped it because I needed points for Jewel Curse. You definitely want this. Come across, Flask nodes are amazing. I wanted to fit the Flask nodes in. I just had to reset my tree to do it. They're huge, and they also added 10% damage to it randomly. I take the minion nodes because Spiritual Aid, minion damage affects me. I need to keep saying it, minion damage affects me. That's why I have it there. It also means that I can get minion damage on jewels. Cast speed, life mana, more life, multiplier. A Jewel Curse, go through the curse effects, not the cast speed, because again, curse on hit and then blasphemy completely automated. This cluster, I explained this before, but this cluster is like the most broken thing in the game. So, cast speed, good. Cast speed, good. 15% cooldown recovery with movement skills, 50% cooldown recovery with movement skills. Both of these nodes for the movement skills, it doesn't specify while dual wielding. So you still get that cooldown recovery if you're using one-handed shield or a bow or whatever. Take these points on every build. Doesn't matter what weapon you're using, take these on every build. Dark Arts also gives you 10% attack and cast speed if you've used a movement skill recently. Again, not while dual wielding. So if for 4 points, you get 10% attack and cast speed, 30% mana regen, 10 dex and int, and 30% cooldown recovery with your movement skills. Insanely good. And if you happen to be dual wielding, you get a bonus 5, 4, 9%. So yeah. Root through this full cluster. You could go along the top to drop 2 points, but I like the Chaos Res. Chaos Res is really good this league. Pick up life. Pick up life. Area damage, again, doesn't scale you. Amplify. You can grab it if you want. Sanctity is a very good point. I'll spec it back in eventually. I had to drop things. For jewels, people ask you a lot, what jewels do you want? So I've rolled this jewel, which is a life evasion, onslaught, and kill jewel. I wanted onslaught since I dropped my onslaught flask for a dying sun. That's how I'm getting it there. I also rolled some other jewels recently. You can get increased damage over time while dual wielding and while wielding a 2-handed weapon, I believe. So again, if you're using a bow, very good mod to look out for on Searching Eye or Murderous Eye jewels would be like life, phasing or onslaught on kill, then like increased damage over time with a two-handed weapon, and you can also get up to 20% increased damage if you've killed recently. Something to look out for. With the Ghastly Jewel, you could get some minion damage stuff there if you wanted to, but that's kind of whatever. For like a normal jewel, again, you could look for like minion damage, life, not area damage, because again, it doesn't do area damage, chaos damage, spell damage while wielding whatever it is you're wielding. You can also go for up to, I believe, 4% non-chaos ailment over time multiplier, which is your most important stat. You want it on all of your weapons. Also, another very important stat is a crafted prefix. This is only tier 2, and it's chaos damage, which comes with skill effect duration. Skill effect duration is very, very important with Soulrend, and it's also why I'm not using Swift Affliction. However, if you have a tier 3, one of these mods, it will offset the minus skill effect duration from Swift Affliction. So, very, very good. When it comes to what to look for on gear, again, I would recommend a defensive chest or Queen of the Forest for speed clear. On helmets, you want as much energy shield as possible, then with life. The reason why you want as much energy shield on your helmet, and the reason why I recommend a lot of like pure evasion chests, is because of the new Trickster node, Escape Artist. So Escape Artist gives you +5 evasion per 1 energy shield on your helmet. So you want as much energy shield on your helmet as possible. Until you can get Devouring Diadem, if you can't get an insane rare, a very good unique to look out for would be the Gull. The Gull is one of my favorite items in the game, and the Gull has very good synergy with Solstice Vigil, because the Gull means that when you kill enemies, they drop shrines, which give you a buff with a duration. And Solstice Vigil, the buff it gives you makes stuff last longer on you, so it makes the buffs from the Gull also last longer. I would use a Gull if I had one. 10 out of 10 item. Since we're talking about Ascendancies, the Ascendancy order I took, Patient Reaper first, from your normal lab, it gives you increased damage, and the life, ES, mana recovery, and the up to 7% increased recovery of life, mana, and energy shield, makes leveling an absolute breeze. I then got Prolonged Pain, because I felt like I really needed the extra skill effect duration. If you're not expecting to get your Uber Lab for a really long time, and you already have a good evasion chest and a good ES helm ready, get Escape Artist from Merciless Lab, so your build is fully complete and fully works for mapping. But I personally went Patient Reaper, Prolonged Pain, Ghost Dance into Escape Artist. For other stats to look out for on gear, life, energy shield, resists. I currently have Dex crafted on, well, you need Dex on like 2 pieces. So I have Dex on my gloves, and then I have all stats on my amulet. So you either need like a 50 Dex roll somewhere, or like crafted like 30 Dex and another crafted 30 Dex somewhere. I'm using its Series Step boots. They're not best in slots by any stretch. They're just easy boots to use. I would happily replace these with Onslaught boots when we work out how to get the Onslaught Synthesis craft. On your belt, you just want, again, life, energy shield. If you can get any cool flask mods, that's great. I like increased life recovery rate on flasks. Other things to look out for is skill, flask effect duration and flask charges gained. Very good, very undervalued modifiers. And that's basically that. Your perfect weapon, again, would be probably a dodge implicit sword with non-ailment over time multiplier, chaos damage, skill effect duration, spell damage, cast speed, and there's Arcane Surge on kill is something you can craft. Arcane Surge is amazing support gem now, but since we're Eldritch Battery, which means we spend energy shield instead of mana, it doesn't proc. And again, for leveling Rush Eldritch Battery, that way you have 0 mana concerns. Soulrend is very expensive. It costs 90 mana currently on a 5-link with a level 21 gem. It costs like 130 or something on a fully geared character. So that's whatever. Helm enchants, since people asked you about it, the helm enchants which are notable is +1 projectile, and then applies a 40% hinder, which is a slow. +1 proj doesn't feel that meaningful if you have Dying Sun and GMP, so I think hinder would be BIS by far. Another nice thing about Dying Sun, since I use an Essence Drain to help supplement single target, it also makes the Essence Drain a bit more effective. until you have the Solstice Vigil for the extra blasphemy, and also, if you don't know, Solstice Vigil means that you can have your temp chains reserved for nothing, so you can run as many links in it as you want. I'm leveling in Enhance in the weapon swap. Enhance gives you increased effect of gems, so it makes temp chains even better. So I'm currently running increased AoE in links. But yes, I'm very, very happy with the build. I'm very happy to recommend this skill tree to people. This is not finished. I'll probably continue to improve it, and I'm going to continue to unlock my Atlas as I work towards Uber Elder, but I would recommend this setup. People ask me how I got such a fast shaper. I got the first shaper of my private league after about 30 hours or so of play. The setup I go for, and I recommend that everyone does, is always run the highest tier map that you have. Don't go tier by tier. The reason why you always want to run the highest tier map that you have is when you run a map, when you kill a boss or a unique enemy in that map, there's a chance that it can drop up to 2 tiers higher. So if you were going tier by tier by tier, like I'm going to clear all my 1s, then all my 2s, then all my 3s, but you had a 5 on you, if you're just going, like, do all the 3s, the highest you could get is a tier 5, right? Or a tier 4 if you hadn't even unlocked a tier 5 yet. So by always going up, you just get lucky. You then get chains, and then you run a tier 16, you find a Zana in the tier 16, Zana then spits out like 5 other maps. We have Horizon Orbs now, which you get a lot from delving, which makes filling in lower tiers a lot easier. Another thing to utilize a lot is alternate of same tier from tier 1 to 10. So it doesn't matter if you miss out like the half a tier. Like if you look at my progression, I'm missing a lot of maps, but they'll just naturally fill in. Same if you look in here, I'm sure there's like, I'm missing a tier 2 still, I'm missing a tier 3 still. You know, you just want to rush for the progression. I still need to, I need to run that resonance, but that's the side. So yeah. It doesn't really matter. You'll fill it in eventually. Just focus on getting as high up as possible. It also gives you access to the best bases. It also gives you access to the most sulfite, which fuels your delve. And delve is really good because, you know, delve is a good source of maps. I'm not going to do a bunch of delving now, but I'll just kind of show you my chart and my upgrade system. When it comes to upgrades for delve, I recommend going full capacity until about 20k. Once you've got that, I then bump up light radius. The reason why I then bump up light radius is the more light radius you have, the easier it is to spot fractured walls. Fractured walls have loads of fossils behind them. Fossils are very good currency. And again, you need aberrant fossils to roll despair on hit ones. Also, the dense fossils are selling very well because of all the ES players. So yeah. If you need currency right now, do a bunch of low-level delving. Anyway, I'm Tarke. Have a good day. Expect more of these to come. Bye-bye.